We close tonight with a school that was built 2 years before Colorado became a state. The Georgetown School became an important part of that developing mountain town. Its ornate style sent a message to settlers that said, "Georgetown is for real." More than 130 years later, the school's message is far more desperate. In a time when miners were flocking to the mountain boom towns, the residents of the tiny settlement of Georgetown wanted to get the attention of those traveling up Clear Creek Canyon. And like today's communities, a strong, modern school provided that draw.
It was first rank.
This was no one-room schoolhouse. The Georgetown School, even then, was a landmark.
This school is far superior to what you would find today in terms of what the community had put into it.
And what that community put into it was permanence. It's believed to be the first brick schoolhouse in the state.
And this is not accidental. This is no novice designing a new school. This is something of a master.
The Georgetown School opened its doors to the first class of students in 1874. Nearly 60 years later, Frank Rutherford walked through those doors.
The classes were small. I think there was only 6 or 7 in first grade.
The school taught all grades in 8 classrooms located on 2 floors.
It was when I was real little, it was clear to me why they called that high school, because it was upstairs.
And while the grade schoolers weren't allowed upstairs, that didn't keep them from playing on the grand staircase.
We'd sneak up there when we could, just to slide down that banister. It was about that wide, and it's on 2 levels, so it came down and made a switchback and on down. And if you were good, you could stay with it around that tight corner.
Every school day for 64 years, the bell tower would summon students to class.
A custodian rang the school bell, and often he would notice that we hadn't arrived yet, so he'd wait because he could see us coming up the street, and he'd wait until the Rutherford family arrived before he rang the bell. Sometimes it was maybe as much as 5 minutes late, but he did his best to keep us from being late for school.
But the bell fell silent in 1939 when a new school opened just down the street. Shortly after, the school board sold the school to a private owner, whose family has owned it ever since. A legacy of deferred maintenance has taken its toll on the building.
The cracks are serious and they have to be repaired. And look up at the the eaves, they're shot. And inside there's quite a bit of damage as well.
Damage that hits Frank Rutherford hard.
It should have been made into a museum while the school board still had control of it.
Today, Historic Georgetown Incorporated shares that view.
We have beautiful buildings here, beautiful houses, beautiful commercial buildings, but it's also the anchor of the community as its history.
They're negotiating with the heirs of the original owner to purchase the school, but acquiring it is only half the battle.
And our next challenge is to find the money to restore it and put it to a good use.
The hope is that the Georgetown School can once again be returned to its original purpose, education, and once again attract visitors to the quiet mountain community.
It's not just the oldest, it's one of the finest.